As of today, 4 of our students, our children, have been detained by ICE.
That is a local school superintendent today saying agents have detained several students. Reg Chapman was at the press conference this afternoon, so Reg, sort of hard to hear that.
Extremely hard to hear, Aaron. The district says 4 children in Columbia Heights have been detained by ICE. Just yesterday, they say 2 children were detained by ICE, including a 17-year-old on his way to school, taken from his car and taken away. Now, then in the afternoon, a 5-year-old child, Liam Ramos, was taken with his father while in the driveway after just arriving home from his preschool classroom. School officials say the child was used as bait. They say agents made little Liam knock on the door to ask to be let in order to see if anyone else was home.
Why detain a 5-year-old? You can't tell me that this child is going to be classified as a violent criminal. 2 weeks ago, a 10-year-old student, 4th grader, was taken by ICE agents on her way to elementary school with her mother. During the arrest, the child called her father on the phone to tell him that ICE agents were bringing her to school. The father immediately came to the school to find that both his daughter and wife had been taken.
Now, school officials say both children and their parent are being held in a detention center in Texas. They say Liam's family is following U.S. legal parameters and has an active asylum case with no order of deportation. The school says the other 2 students, they don't know exactly what happened to them.
You know, I've watched those videos all week, and I still get choked up. You know, old grumpy soldier like me, as you guys know, if you watch the show, I served in combat 4 times. I've seen horrible things. But this face, this child, bring up that picture, Satchel. He's 5. He just turned 5. He's in preschool. That's an ICE agent going through his Spider-Man backpack. Now, they've been out lying, saying that they were trying to help him because his dad ran away. They went to the door. The family was there. They're all on legal asylum. Okay. They took the boy and his father and shipped him to Texas within hours. Before the school day was out, that child with the bunny ear hat and the Spider-Man backpack is now lost in a system in Texas that's now holding thousands, tens of thousands of folks they've picked up who was on a legal asylum. They came to the point of entry. All we're being told is that they have to do it the right way. And the right way was go to port of entry and request asylum. They're telling you that these are hardened criminals. That's not a hardened criminal. Okay? That's little Liam. Okay? Taken from his family, who's desperately trying to find him in a system that's almost completely opaque. They had a lawyer. Doesn't matter. They're just taking kids. There's more to the story too that's happening there. Saz, let's show this second news video.
View Elementary in Columbia Heights, there's a preschool classroom filled with 4 and 5-year-olds who may soon wonder what happened to one of their classmates, Liam Ramos.
He's a bright young student, and he's so kind.
Ella Sullivan is Liam's preschool teacher. She says her students haven't asked about Liam yet, but they will, and she and other teachers wonder how they can possibly answer their questions.
All I want is for him to be safe and back here.
The family's lawyer says Liam is likely being held with his father at a detention facility in Texas.
We have plans that once they're picked up, they're whisked away to the airport literally within hours.
School officials say Liam is one of 4 students who have been detained by ICE agents over the last 2 weeks, including another student who was also detained on Tuesday.
On the way to school, a 17-year-old high school student, a minor, was taken by armed, masked agents. Alone. No parents were present.
Superintendent Zena Stenvik says the other 2 students include another 17-year-old and her mother, who were detained by ICE last week, and a 10-year-old girl who was also detained with her mother on their way to school 2 weeks ago.
And by the end of the school day, they were already in a detention center in Texas, and they are still there. ICE agents have been roaming our neighborhoods, circling our schools, following our buses, coming into our parking lots and taking our children. And our hearts are shattered.
Hearts are shattered. Circling schools. Going on property to grab kids, minors, alone. And they want you to tell you that they're hardened criminals, that they're getting the worst of the worst. They show the mug shots. They display people saying these alleged crimes like it's a third world country with masked men saying, I saw those pictures. I saw those pictures in third world countries of masked men displaying the people they've grabbed. But they want you to believe that this is about protecting America, that this is the right thing, that, these folks are the worst of the worst. So I want to tell you a funny story that actually leads us to why the rest of the show. So, on Twitter, when you're scrolling, when you watch a video, at the end of that video, the next video comes up. And on all the social networks, that's the way. So when I was watching that first video, the last video we just watched, where they talk about the fact that the ICE agents, masked, armed, heavily armed, anonymous, unmarked car agents, grabbed a mother, her 10-year-old daughter. They now have disappeared into the system. They've just been whisked away within hours and no one can get hold of them. The next video, you guys, was this one. My senator. Show this video.
Do is to say it's time to stand up and protect women, and it's time to vindicate the principle on which this country's founded, which is that every life has value, that we are all created equal in the image of God, that our rights come from God, not from some government, and we want to vindicate that principle. We want to protect life, and we want to give voice to the American people and their right to protect life, state by state, city by city, and yes, here in the United States Congress. That's what this fight is about. I'm proud that Republicans are standing up for this fight. This is what the party really is founded on. This is a party that came to birth in the fight over whether or not a human being's life could be taken and destroyed. That was slavery in the 1860s. The same moral principle is at issue today. Is a life valuable? Does it have inherent meaning? Does it have inherent worth because of the image of God? Our party is founded on that principle, and we want to vindicate it.
That's Josh Hawley yesterday, talking about how every life has inherent value. Mothers should be protected, that no life should be thrown away. It started with slavery. At the same time, the United States federal government is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, taking children and mothers and fathers to the streets. And they're going to tell you and lie to you that they're criminals. Show that picture again. Okay. This little guy, this young man, this baby is not a criminal. He's been taken after legally come to this country. He's going to be sent somewhere. God knows where. The reason he sought asylum, we don't know. But do you think that Josh Hawley respects his life? How do you do that? How do you go on TV and have the audacity to say that you respect all life, and all life, every life matters, but little Liam didn't? Liam's family is absolutely panicked, trying to find out where he is. Lost in a system that's already killed 6 people this year. There's reports that the ICE facility at Fort Bliss, Texas, they like to crush the testicles of boys as punishment. A young ACLU is representing a young man who went to the hospital with crushed testicles. Okay, that's where little Liam is. So maybe Josh Hawley and the Congress should focus on that. If you believe that all life is valuable, then little Liam's life should matter. And this is the same Congress that this week has to vote, the same Senate, on the ACA subsidies. So why does that transition to the Congress we're having? Because they're saying to our faces that all lives are important, that every life has value, that we have to respect life, that we have to preserve life, and that's why they're anti-abortion. But then the minute the child's born, you're on your own, folks. And our Congress and our representatives, including, all the ones here in Missouri, have gone up there and voted against ACA subsidies. They voted against Medicare expansion. They've voted all the things they should be doing. Because if that's the truth, if all life is value, if all life has meaning, then maybe they should start treating all lives, including American lives, with value. We should have health care. Health care is how people stay alive in this country. And so I'm thrilled to, in the middle of all that madness, which is being covered by a lot of my friends here in the network already, and I appreciate that more than anything, I want to talk about, as always here on Democracy, I want to talk about the things that really are being hidden from you, the conversations that aren't occurring, that must occur. Because as you know, last week, with 17 Republicans coming across the aisle, Medicare, the ACA extensions were voted in and sent to the Senate, who has not voted on them yet. So I'm thrilled to have our guest. He's an expert in these all issues around our healthcare system. Two major topics between Medicare and Medicare Advantage. So we're going to talk about those. I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy with FP Wellman, right here on the Midas Touch Network. I'm glad to have you. Let's get on with the show. Hey, Dr. Weisbart, it's good to have you. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you again. We did a pre-show last week, so full disclosure, Dr. Weisbart, of course, lives right here in St. Louis with me. It's great to have you. We had a chance to talk. And so Dr. Weisbart, so I got to introduce you. You're National Board Secretary of Missouri Chapter Chair of Physicians for a National Health Program, PNHP, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization of more than 25,000 physicians and other healthcare advocates who publicly support a publicly financed nonprofit single-payer national. You've been a doctor for 20 years. You've been working, and now you're here in St. Louis. I guess start there. I mean, start with, what is Physicians for a National Health Program stand for, and what are you guys fighting for?
Oh, thanks, and great to see you. We are a 36-year-old organization of physicians and med students and others all across the country. We have, I think, 26,000 plus members, all focused on the same thing. We're all just furious at seeing people who can't keep their lives, but they can't afford to get health care. They make trade-offs between paying their rent and keeping their children with medications. It drives us crazy to know that the only reason people in this country can't afford to get the life-saving health care they need, the only reason they can't do that is because there's somebody who's put themselves in the middle. Insurance corporations have put themselves in the middle, have corrupted our democracy, and are finding every game they can make to turn a profit instead of actually letting us get health care that every other modern country provides to their citizens.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking sometimes. I mean, really, if you really pull out the big picture, and especially after that intro, is what is happening right now, especially now this month, and that's why I want to have you on this month as the ACA subsidies expire and then insurance rates go up anyway, is basically the commoditization of our health. The average American your ability to live or die right now in our country more than ever, probably since the ACA passed in the first place. That the ability for you to live or die in America is a matter of cash in your pocket, and if you've got a job that maybe offers health insurance, And so I know that one of the biggest things you guys are pushing is Medicare for all, which has become such a buzzword, I think, in politics. It's a classic story. I think a lot of times I feel like as a person in politics of people trying to twist those words, right? They mean different things for different people. So when what is PNHP pushing for? What's your solution to this crisis?
It's actually really simple. What we're saying is Medicare is imperfect, so let's fix the problems with Medicare, and then let's just make sure everybody in the country has it, so that everybody has insurance, and you have the freedom to go to whatever doctor you want to go to. You get to decide. You can go to whatever hospital you want, but you can stop worrying about picking this insurance or that insurance to get to the people that you want. So we think just fix Medicare. There's half a dozen things we could talk about. Improve Medicare, and then give that to everybody. Get the middlemen who make a profit out of the way. Get the profiteers out of it. Get those, all the barriers to care, prior authorizations and narrow networks. Get all that stuff out of there, and just, let folks go get health care when they think they need it.
And there's money and interest at stake here. I mean, when you talk about the insurance companies, you talk about the PCB, and there's so many different ones. There are very big money interest at stake here so the fight is really, in a lot of ways, it's about money in the American people's pockets, but it's also money in corporate interest pockets, jobs. How do you address that dynamic, that push and pull of the for-profit interest, the job interest versus the real needs of Americans for healthcare?
Yeah, well, really specifically and focused on that. So most folks don't realize the pernicious invasion of healthcare by the insurance industry. I don't think they quite realize how that's so corrupted things. So one of the things that we're doing is trying to shine light on it and help people understand how deadly that is and how rampant that is. And then specific proposals in Congress, working with legislators to try to get them the heck out of this system. And that's what a Medicare for All would do. There's a bill in the House and a bill in the Senate, and they've got tons of sponsors. Nowhere near enough, but they got lots. And so, elect people that would vote for these bills, pass it, and then we would all have the best healthcare in the world. You can argue that Medicare, if we fix the problems with it, is the best healthcare system you can imagine. And we can make the best healthcare system in the world because we can see what other countries do, and we don't have to do what they're doing. We can do it better. I'm proud of this country, despite all the things that you talked about and that we know about. I believe that this country knows how to make an even better healthcare system than the rest of the world, and that's what's designed in the bills for Medicare for All in the House and the Senate. We can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And the barriers are there. Have you seen an acceleration in interest with the, in this bill with the ACA? I mean, this battle's been going on since the big billionaire bill, and the ACA subsidies expiring. I mean, it's been a pretty, the healthcare battle has really accelerated in the last, few months. Are you seeing more interest in your bill because of that now, or what's the vibe you're getting politically now?
Yeah, it's really exploding favorably for support for Medicare for All. So in the last few months, we picked up 7 more co-sponsors in the House of Representatives. And we were hopeful to get more in the Senate, but the support kind of going for one simple reason. The budget reconciliation bill, I refuse to call it by the big, beautiful,
The same way.
is going to wind up increasing the number of people without insurance by about 17 million. Maybe 17 million more Americans are going to be uninsured at the end of this process. And why is that important? It's important because that means potentially as many as 51,000 people a year are going to die because of this bill that's ultimately realistically going to mean that they just can't afford even the health care that's so expensive today. It's going to become more expensive. And having the looming threat of 51,000 more people dying a year because of this bill, that's galvanizing support for. Let's stop tweaking at the edges. ACA did a lot of good things. It was imperfect, but it did a lot of good things. It dropped the uninsured rate from 50 to 25 million. And this, we need to build on that success and go to the next stage. And that means no longer tweaking, not just improving the ACA. Certainly don't get rid of the ACA until we pass something better, but it means do something fundamentally better. And that's what Medicare for All would do.
And we need courage at Capitol Hill, right? This is a big thing. This is going to probably cost people seats, right? I mean, I think we know that. I have a friend, Patrick Murphy. I tell the story often. Patrick Murphy got elected in Pennsylvania, first Iraq veteran to go to Congress. He helped pass the ACA. He was one of the architects of the ACA. He lost his job. Do you think that's part of the problem? Is that we need political courage in this moment as well?
Absolutely. And political courage should be fundamentally baked into the system, right? You shouldn't have to be courageous enough to resist the financial pressures. You shouldn't let big money so influence elections. They shouldn't be part of it. We should have public funding of campaign. I'm not a politician. I can't really address that, but we've got to get money out of the democracy process so that people really do one person and one vote like we were promised.
Yeah, that is a lot of it right there. So this is a great place to take a break because I do want to come back and talk about the other issue you guys are battling because it does relate. It ties right into all this conversation. So we got great sponsors this week. Let's take a moment, come back. We'll come back for our sponsors. Well, guys, it's 2026, and this is the year you launch your business, the year you transform into an entrepreneur, a founder, a boss. One powerful move puts your future firmly in your hands. You can start a business with Shopify. And look, maybe you got an idea you can't shake, a craft everyone tells you to sell. Maybe you waited because it seems impossible to set up. Maybe a story where you design in your head exists out there. But with Shopify, 2026 is when you finally make it happen. Look, Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. My daughter's business is run on Shopify and has been for over a decade, I think, or years now. Shopify gives you all the tools to easily build your dream store. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates. You can customize, you can match them to your brand. It's fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools now. They write product descriptions, headlines, help you edit product photos. Marketing is built into emails, social media campaigns, everything that reaches customers to help you sell, it's right in there. As you grow, Shopify grows with you. You can handle more orders, expand in new markets, and do it all from the same dashboard you started with. Look, 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Fred. That's shopify.com/Fred. One more time so you don't miss it, okay? That's shopify.com/Fred. And you know what? Maybe you're going to hear your very first this new year with Shopify by your side. Thanks for sponsoring the show, Shopify. Good luck out there. Get to work, folks. You know, you guys probably guessed that I spend hours sitting in meetings and watching events. And if you follow me, you also know I follow my favorite band around the country. I'll show up hours early for a spot on the rail at the concerts. And I often have to give up comfort to look good. You know, too often I have to put on clothes that don't fit right or makes for a long day. So luckily, I'm building my wardrobe now with Mack Weldon. I can have comfort and style at the same time. Mack Weldon's Ace collection makes it effortless to look put together while feeling truly comfortable. I'm a working guy. I mean, you guys know this. I'm going 100 miles an hour every day, all day. I need easy, comfortable, stylish clothes, and I can't spend all day feeling my clothes don't fit or worry about how I look. If I am in a meeting or making an impromptu speech, I don't want to worry that I look out of style. Mack Weldon hits all those points and it also makes it easy to be stylish and look good at the same time. So this is a time to add comfort and flair to your layers this year, 2026. Mack Weldon appeals to me because it easily balances classic pieces with updated details to keep me looking sharp and up to date in a very busy lifestyle that I lead. It's all not flashy. It's classic, always a style, and made from the world's most comfortable performance materials. With the Ace line, ease and self-assurance have never been more comfortable. I can pick from comfortable but nice sweatpants, shorts, sweatshirts, even blazers. Get everything you need from regular everyday clothes to my favorite Henleys. As you know, I love my Henleys, and even the most comfortable underwear is available from Mack Weldon right now. So they put comfort right next to style, and that's why you should check it out and join. Upgrade your collection for the new year with new bomber jackets. They've got half zips, sweats, crew necks, and more, all at MackWeldon.com. You get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with code FRED. Mack Weldon's Ace Collection. Comfortable anywhere. Go to MackWeldon.com, get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code FRED. That's MackWeldon.com and code my name, Fred. Check them out. You won't regret it. Great clothes, great comfort, great style. Thanks for sponsoring our show. And we're back. So Ed, one of the things I did enjoy when we talked too is that the other thing that PNHP is fighting is the Medicare Advantage program. So let's set the stage for that. It does go back to the very beginning. You said the money, the interests that are at stake here. John Oliver did a great piece, did a whole show on Medicare Advantage and how it's really not an advantage in any way. Can you set the stage for a little bit of why you guys are so passionate about this Medicare Advantage and the lies that go into that title in a lot of ways?
Well, Medicare Advantage is killing people. And we
Okay,
don't like
there it is.
so-
All right, next question.
So, for example, people with cancer who need cancer surgery, we know that people in Medicare Advantage can't get to the premier cancer places. They almost never get to go there. We know that people with Medicare Advantage compared to regular Medicare, they wait much longer to get their cancer treated. And as a result, there's data showing that people who have cancer in Medicare Advantage are more likely to die after surgery than are people in regular Medicare. So I'm not being hyperbolic when I say it's killing people. It is killing people, and we're paying extra for it, maybe as much as $140 billion a year. So we're overpaying the insurances compared to what we pay in traditional Medicare. We're overpaying them to tell us which doctors and hospitals we can't use, and that literally kills people. So So that's draining the Medicare fund. It's draining our resources. That $140 billion could go in instead to providing everybody in Medicare and frankly, everybody in the country with hearing and vision and dental and a pharmacy benefit. It could eliminate the copays. It could eliminate the premiums for Medicare Part B. The money we're wasting in Medicare Advantage that we're letting the insurance companies steal from us, that money could instead go to improve the health of all Americans. And I don't really care about the money so much. I don't really care about any of these things except that I'm a doctor. I want people to live full, productive, healthy lives. And the Medicare Advantage program corrupts our ability to do that, steals that from us. And so, yeah, we fight that. Their profiteering off of the Medicare program is frankly the biggest reason that we don't have Medicare for all today. They don't want it. They want to keep raiding the piggy bank, and that's just not right.
And that's the issue, isn't it? Is that you're talking billions of dollars are going into corporations. They're spending a lot of money to influence politics. They're spending a lot of money to keep that advantage. But in the end, the taxpayers are the one paying this. I think so many Americans just sit there watch this unfold. But I do believe I do hear that. I mean, all I hear all the time too, doctor, is how doctors spend so much time of their own, a large part of their job now is fighting to just get care for their patients, isn't it? I mean, just battling these moneyed interests to just let their patients be cared for, isn't it?
It's absurd, and it causes really a moral injury amongst physicians and nurses and pharmacists and all of us. It looks a lot like we're all burnt out, and indeed that was a big piece during the pandemic, of course.
Yeah.
But right now what's going on is really what's called moral injury. And every day you go from one patient to the next patient and you have to fight. You wind up no longer giving your best advice because your best advice is going to create a fight with the insurance industry. So you give your second best advice, and that's really, that accumulates. That's really painful. I've got to point out, though, that some people in Medicare Advantage are there because they're trapped. Actually, most people are there because they're trapped.
Right.
They've underfunded the Medicare program so much that you have to have Medigap. They can't afford to buy Medigap. And so they're frankly trapped in Medicare Advantage. They get a little bit extra for hearing, vision, dental, and pharmacy, but that little bit extra is from the profound overfunding and instead could be redeployed in a way that would help all of us, but more so.
So where do we start? I know you've got a bill for Medicare for all. You've got we just talked about Medicare. I mean, kind of tying it all together is like, you and I have talked before. I try to be a pragmatic person of what can we get done. I mean, as you talk to politicians, do you say, all right, look, Congressman, this is where you should start. This is the place to start. Like, what is the path do you think that one can allow us to politically get this done? And then also start helping people in the near term. Like, what would you say is like we call the low hanging fruit or the closest alligator? I mean, what do you see as the next step that we should be pushing for to get things done quickly? Because people are panicked right now. There's real fear of losing their health care, losing the support they have. What do you think is that closest gator that we could address right now?
We've obviously got to not let the subsidies for the ACA expire. We've got to not let the insane work requirements that they're putting in that are just pure red tape. We got to fix those things immediately. But frankly, I'm sick and tired of incremental transitional steps. There's a lot of transitional ways to kind of ease our way into Medicare for all. I think we're way past that point. There's too many people dying. There's too many people going bankrupt. We just need to get Congress to pass the darn bill. It's H.R. 3069 in the House, and it's Senate Bill 1506. They'll be reintroduced again, I'm sure. And we just have to pass the bills, for crying out. We could talk about all sorts of incremental things, lower the age of eligibility from 65 now. We could talk about a whole range of transitional steps, and if you want to, there are a number of those. I don't think this is the year to do that. Maybe a couple of years ago when we had a president who that's as far as he was willing to go. But frankly, right now, when we're starting to enter the primary season, we need to have Congress. We need to elect the kind of people that would do the right darn thing. And if we fail at that, then let's talk about incremental transition steps. But let's fight to do the right thing this time. Let's fight.
Go big or don't go. That's one of my mottos has got me in trouble, but it is true, right? We're at a point now where I think you and I talked about that too often. Everybody's looking at the next election, what's doable, what's in the realm of possible. But when you talk about 50,000 deaths, I mean, and I guess how do we how do we explain that to people? I mean, I think do we need to anymore? I mean, I have talked to a lot of people. I was my other job I've got, and they are panicked about losing their health care. I had a dear friend of mine just last night told me that they had to cancel their health care because it went up to $1,000 a month, from 400 to 1,200. They simply don't have the money. I guess that's it. Do you think there's a hunger finally publicly as a poll showing that people have had enough and it's time to go big or don't go?
Yeah, 5, 10 years ago, our mission at Physicians for a National Health Program was trying to get people to see that the platform is on fire, that the house is burning, and people didn't quite realize it. People looked at their own healthcare and said, "Mine's pretty good." They didn't realize the threat they were under. They didn't realize that they were one illness away from a major disaster. They didn't realize how vulnerable. I don't think we're at that point today. I don't think we're at that point. And with the horrible murder of the United Healthcare CEO, and that was
Yeah.
the right approach. That was a terrible thing. That's not the way to do this. That was, nobody should do that again. That's terrible. But the thing that's interesting about that was that the country didn't so much react with, don't ever do that. People said that, of course, and think that. But the anger that tapped, people were like, there was a rampant. So I think people get how terrible it is allowing these profit-mongering insurance companies to get in the way of our healthcare. I don't think we need to convince people anymore, most people, that the insurance companies, that they get that. People are starving for aggressive solutions. I think 2 years ago, 5 years ago, it was convince people that the house is on fire. Today, it's here is the better way, and get Congress to vote for the darn thing, pass the bills. Then everybody has every medically necessary thing without anybody getting in the way. You have pharmacy, you have hearing, you have vision, you have psychiatry, you have abortion rights, you have everything that you need for your health care guaranteed from birth to the end of your life, without somebody blocking it because they want to make their piece of the cut of the pie. I think people want that. The job now is to get them to understand that Congress could do that literally this afternoon if they had the strength to do that. They could do that this afternoon, and this should not be a partisan issue.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is interesting when you travel overseas at all, you notice that their lives aren't driven by healthcare. It's like how much of American lives, this is what I notice a lot in my own life, is how much of our lives are driven by not so much healthcare, but our health. You notice I didn't say health. I said healthcare. You know what I mean? It's the idea that I can't get healthcare, that I don't have a job, that the idea I have to stay in a job because it just oddly these days does offer healthcare or a good healthcare program, or I can't start a business because I don't have healthcare insurance. And again, it's not being driven by our health. It's driven by our healthcare, obviously, and that's a very, for a country that prides itself on being, capitalist and ruggedly successful, we're holding back capitalism. We're holding back success because so many people's lives are dominated by one thing and one thing only. Can I get healthcare at some point?
Really, it's access to healthcare, because the interesting thing that we know, American lives are cut short. We live 4 or 5 years shorter than others, and we rank at the bottom of 17 modern nations, in life expectancy and mortality rates, until the magic happens and we turn 65. And once we turn 65, country by country and year by year, we actually climb to the best in the world. So the life expectancy as we get older compared to people in other countries, Americans do the best in the world. So our country has many of the world's best doctors and hospitals and pharmacists and nurses. But we just, until we turn 65, we don't let people use it. So fix that. We've got something we can be really proud of. It's a great bunch of doctors and hospitals and pharmacists and nurses and such. We just have to let everybody use the darn system, and then we'll be healthier, and we can work more. We can be more productive.
And be a better country, and then take back our place as the leading country in the world, scientifically and health wise. Well, Dr. Weisbart, I can't thanks Ed. I appreciate you coming out here this is fascinating, and with everything going on in the world, that's why I wanted to have you on. Still is that's the house is on fire. And the house is on fire in a lot of ways, but this one's real. I think this is, we get close to the end of the first month with the ACA subsidies, people's houses really are on fire on this one. They've lost their health care, and there's people who are getting cancer treatment right now who are going to lose their ability to pay for that. It is a hit the alarm moment, isn't it, for this country?
But we know the way forward. We know how to fix this, and we Americans are good about that. We've tried everything else.
Right.
So you
Let's see. See the old joke. Americans will find their way eventually. Well, Ed, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you. Obviously, we'll be in touch. And good luck out there and stay safe.
Thanks. Same to you, man.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Wow. I really want to have that conversation. We all have to have this conversation about our healthcare access. It is shocking numbers when you hear those numbers. And I love that last story that the doctor told us is, okay, do you want proof that Medicare is working? Well, people get healthier in their old age in America. They have access to doctors through a government paid system or, a system, that's available to us. It is a lot to digest. It is important that we sort through it. Check out their websites. A lot of good information there. I mean, I'm a big fan. PNHB's got a lot of good work. Dr. Weisbart's been educating me, and I recommend it high. So check that out. In the meantime, look, folks, you see what's happening. That picture of little Liam and everything else. There's a lot of stuff distracting us from the truth. The truth is that we have to fight back, that we have to fight for average working class Americans who can't afford to live, from health insurance to energy costs to life. And meanwhile, we have out of control mass agents, the executive branch, just roaming rampant through our streets. There's a lot on our plate. I know, I get it. I had a person make a passionate play to me last night that there's not going to be an election. There's going to be an election. I believe that. I just do. But we have to make sure all these things happen. Hold your elected officials accountable. Let them know that the house is on fire while they're running around trying to say everything is great. And then go back to that video of Josh Hawley that I showed at the beginning, that completely detached from reality, insane video of Josh Hawley claiming that he is so pro-life, that it's all about respecting all life. He doesn't. That's why both aspects of this show today tell you that. They don't respect life for little Liam. They don't respect life for millions of Americans who can't afford to go to a doctor. Millions of Americans being taken advantage by a out-of-control insurance industry that takes their money and it doesn't get them health care. Millions of Americans who are paying their tax dollars and seeing them pissed away to ensure a company profits. Millionaires in charge, stock buybacks, payouts to shareholders. Our health should not be measured in shareholder value. It shouldn't. Be it your ability to get health insurance or the fact your health insurance is focused first on profit for the people who have bought stock. It's time to have a reality check on our country of what our priorities are. And we have a Republican like Josh Hawley saying the priority is preserving life and the dignity of human life. Then damn it, that human life should be able to get cancer treatment without having to lose their house. So don't tell me this bullshit about how you believe in the dignity of human life and then rip away the health care of millions of those human lives in your country. Nah, we're not buying anymore. Elect people who give a damn about you who will take back this country. I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy with FP Wellman every Friday night right here at 7 p.m. on the MySuch Network. The best place to follow us is my Substack, fpwellman.substack.com. Of course, we're on all the social networks at On Democracy Pod or at FP Wellman. But be sure to subscribe to our Substack. That's at fpwellman.substack.com. It's a great place to find all the information about what we're doing and my other projects that I'm up to these days. I'd love to see you there. It's a great place to subscribe for free. Don't forget that. In the meantime, stay safe out there. Use your voices. Find yourselves a candidate you can support. I tell you right now, I know from personal experience, there's not a candidate running for office right now that doesn't need you, your money, your blood, sweat, and tears. So get in the fight, folks, because without you, we're going to lose the whole thing. And you know what? Like I always say, we're not done yet. I'm Fred Wellman. We'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us here on Democracy.